In a land where the earth had grown tired and the sky forgot to rain, there was a farm at the edge of the world. The wheat had turned to dust, the roots had given up, and the wind carried nothing but the memory of better days. A man named Thomas stood at his door each evening and looked at what remained of his life. His hands, once strong enough to split oak, now trembled at his sides. He had nothing left to give. Inside that small and creaking house, his daughter Elara moved quietly through the shadows. She pressed a cool cloth to her mother's forehead and smiled, the kind of smile that costs something, the kind that says, "I am not afraid, even when you are." She picked up a wildflower from the windowsill and turned it in her fingers. "Tomorrow," she told herself, "tomorrow will be kinder."
Thomas went into the forest the next morning and found something waiting between the old oak trees. A man, tall, still, dressed in black that absorbed the light around it. His eyes were the color of embers that never quite go out. "I will give you everything you have lost in exchange for what stands behind your house." Thomas thought of the old apple tree. He said yes, a handshake, and when their hands met, the leaves around them rose into the air as if the forest itself recoiled. Walking home, Thomas felt the first lightness he had known in years. The apple tree, he told himself, just the apple tree. And then, the thought arrived like a stone dropped into still water. Elara, this morning, standing behind the house. The cottage was full of gold when he returned, silk where there had been sackcloth, food where there had been bare shelves, and none of it mattered. None of it mattered at all. That night, the stranger came back. He filled the doorframe the way darkness fills a room, completely and from every corner at once. Thomas fell to his knees, grabbing the black coat with shaking hands. "Please, she is my daughter." The stranger's eyes slowly became fire. From the hallway, Elara had heard everything. She stood in the stillness of someone choosing what kind of person they are going to be. She stepped forward. Thomas turned to face her, broken, wordless. Elara walked to him and took his face in both her hands. She looked at him not with anger, not with fear, with something so quiet it silenced even the stranger in the doorway. "Father," she said, "I trust you." The light came from her hands, white and absolute. It expanded in rings, pressing against every shadow. When it faded, Elara stood with smooth and rounded wrists where her hands had been. No blood, no horror, only the stranger retreating into smoke and the silence of a cottage that had witnessed something holy. She left at dawn. Thomas stood in the doorway and could not speak. She looked back once, a nod that meant, "I forgive you," and "Don't forget me" in the same breath, and walked into the pink morning light. The road ahead was long. She had no hands. She learned quickly. She knelt at streams and drank. She lowered her mouth to wild berries on their branches. She walked through rain she could not shield herself from. Chin lifted, cloak soaked, steps never slowing. At night, she curled against the roots of ancient trees and looked up at stars that didn't care about her situation. And somehow, that helped. She was still Elara, and that was enough to keep walking. The royal garden appeared through the trees like a dream. At its center, a pear tree, its fruit glowing gold as if lit from within. She stood beneath it and looked up at the pears far beyond any reach she no longer had. She raised her wrists, a ghost of instinct, and stopped. She bowed her head and asked, in the only language she had left, for help. The light came gently. A branch bent slowly downward, the way a mother bends to a child, and a single pear came to rest at her lips. She ate, and she wept, and the tears that fell caught the golden light as they landed. He saw her from his horse. The young king, Ulrich, pulled his reins without thinking, the way you stop when something true interrupts you. He dismounted without entitlement. He knelt so their eyes were level. "Who are you?" he asked. "Only someone who was lost,"
she said. He looked at her, not at her wrists, not at what was missing, but at the way she sat in the world. He offered his arm. She took it, and they walked toward the palace as the afternoon light turned everything the color of honey. The craftsman made her hands of silver, intricate, beautiful. When she lifted them in the candlelight, she allowed herself, just for a moment, to grieve. Then she put it down and moved forward, because that was always Elara. Alric visited her in the library night after night. He listened the way people listen when they are learning something, leaning slightly forward, afraid to miss a word. He loved her before he had words for it. The court objected. He heard them all, and then he went and asked Elara to marry him. The wedding filled the great hall with white lilies and 10,000 candles. He placed the ring on her silver hand. The whole room, in the end, could not help itself. That night, on the palace balcony, with the kingdom spread below and stars above, Alric put his arm around her. She leaned into him. For the first time in her life, she had everything. And then Alric was called to war. He stood before her in his armor and held her silver hands, and neither found the right words. He pressed his forehead to hers. He let go. He walked to the door, stopped, looked back. She nodded. "Go, I'll be all right." He went. In the shadows outside the palace, something with ember eyes had been waiting, patient. Patience is easy when you do not age. Letters were forged, words arranged to wound. By the time the deception was complete, the court believed Alric had renounced his wife, called her a curse, and ordered her removed before his return. The decree was placed before Elara. Her silver hands trembled. She set it down, closed her eyes, opened them steady. She held her newborn son and memorized his face, every eyelash, every soft, sleeping breath. Then she wrapped him against her chest and walked through the palace gates as they closed behind her. She did not look back. The forest received her again, but she was not the same girl. She held her son and walked deeper into the dark, thinking, "I have survived worse than this, with less than I have now." And she found the cottage, appearing the way miracles do, quietly and at the exact moment needed. Flowers in impossible colors, warm light from within. She went inside. Years passed. She prayed each night, not for rescue, not for justice, but the way people pray when they understand that faith is not a transaction. It is the decision made again each morning to believe that goodness is real. Her son grew tall and laughing and unafraid because he had learned it from her. One night, under a full moon, the light came. A single column descending gently through the canopy, landing on her wrists. The silver dissolved. Beneath it, fingers, warm, hers, alive. She brought her hands to her face and felt her own cheeks for the first time in years. She laughed and wept in the same breath, and the sound rose through the trees into the stars. Alric came home to an empty palace and a truth that shattered him. Forged letters, deception, his wife and child exiled in his name. He rode through villages, across fields, through forest edges, calling her name. The kingdom turned out beside him. He found the cottage, dismounted, called her name. Silence. Then, a child's laughter from inside. She appeared in the doorway. Living hands, amber eyes, her child on her hip. The same girl who had said, "I trust you," and meant it. Who had walked through rain with her chin up. Who had kept her son warm and prayed every night, not for rescue, but for grace. He crossed the clearing in 3 steps. He held her and their child, and he wept without pride or protection. "I was wrong. I am so sorry." Her living hands held him. "We have both been through the fire," she said, "and we are still here." They went back together. The farm had been transformed. Green where there had been dust, blue sky where there had been rust, and on the porch of a repaired farmhouse, Thomas watched them come. He saw Elara's living hands and sank to his knees in the dirt, undone by a love he knew he hadn't earned. Elara knelt before him. She took his aged face in her new hands, the hands sacrificed for his mistake and returned by grace, and looked at him with eyes that held no anger, only love. She drew him into her arms. Her son wrapped small arms around his grandfather's leg, and the old man, who had carried the weight of his worst moment for years, finally set it down. The afternoon turned gold. Elara raised her hands in the last of the sunlight and watched the light pass through her fingers, the same light present at every turning point of her story, and closed them slowly into gentle fists. Not in anger, in the quiet knowledge that she had survived and loved and forgiven and been forgiven. A wildflower swayed at the edge of the field. The family became silhouettes against an evening sky. Even in the deepest darkness, kindness can bloom, and the wounds we carry can be healed by love and by the grace of those brave enough to forgive.